Alright guys, it is time for me to reveal which turbo I went with. And if you guys can tell by this hoodie right here, we did go with a TPC turbo. We went with the TPC 20 ball bearing turbo with their performance housing for the cold side. And we've gone ahead and got it slapped in the car. So let me go ahead and show you guys some of the install clips, and then we'll hop back over to here and I'll talk to you guys some more. Alright, the day has come guys. We are actually going to be starting on this turbo swap right now. So we have gone ahead and just gotten through some of the basics. So you guys can see right here, obviously our intake and battery are gone. We've got this harness sitting back here. We've got our coil packs back here. This is where we're going to be lining everything up, is on this. And just trying to keep everything in order and stuff like that. Obviously we got some tools and whatnot that we're going to be using, but we are about to be removing this coolant line, the hard line that goes through the back of there, and I believe that we're going to take it off from this side and actually just stand it up over here. Alright, so we now have that heat shield off right here. We just went ahead and threw some tape over that, just that way we didn't leave that exposed right now. And we've got the turbo rather exposed at the moment, but now we are just going to start removing some of these oil lines and whatnot. So I believe I need to throw the car up on some jacks and we will get right to it. Alright guys, we now have a giant hole back here. We got the turbo out. So as you guys can see right here, this is our IS-20 that we just pulled out of the car right here. And it's pretty worn out, I'm not gonna lie. We've got some pretty intense wastegate chatter in here. You guys can probably hear that. Pretty intense chatter right there. And then I actually have not checked the turbine yet. Let's go ahead and stand it up. Honestly, it feels good. The turbine still feels good. There is no shaft play really at all, so that is a good thing. It probably will need a new wastegate if I were to sell it or reuse it on something else, but nonetheless, that is the old turbo. Old turbo, new turbo. So this is a TPC 20 ball bearing with the performance cover. So this turbo is going to be good for at least about 500 wheel horsepower. We only plan to run around 400, maybe a little bit more in the beginning, but once we get the power bug again, we will go ahead and do some more fueling mods later on down the road and bump this up. Here's a good side-by-side of what these look like. You guys can obviously tell that is a much larger turbine in there than this one. This is a little baby guy versus that one. So, I mean, pretty significant difference, and it should be a whole lot of fun. Alright, so this is going to be our stopping point for tonight. We have gone ahead and swapped over all of our hardware to the new turbo, and tomorrow morning we are going to go ahead and get started on putting this turbo in. So, we'll be back in the morning. It's the next morning, we've got the turbo out, and we are going to go ahead and start installing the new one. As you guys can see right here, we've got the car sitting up here on jacks. We got the front bumper off as well. Got the heater kicked on right now. It is cold today. Yesterday it was like 70 degrees whenever I was in here working, and this morning it is 40 degrees. So, you know, it is chilly this morning. Not freezing by any means, but it is cold. So right here though, we do have our turbos. I just threw this over that last night just because, but we have our turbo sitting right here. As I was showing you guys yesterday, this wastegate on this IS-20 is going out. I mean, it rattles like crazy. I'm sure you guys can probably hear that, but it's not supposed to sound like that. So we've got this new turbo right here, guys, and this is a TPC 20 with the performance cover on here. So it has this the turbo muffler delete basically built into the housing, as well as we will not be using our CTS turbo inlet anymore. I will show you guys later on what we've got for that, but it did come with the turbo, the inlet as well for that. So we're gonna go ahead and continue swapping over the rest of these O-rings and getting all of our seals ready and stuff like that, and then we're going to try and set this turbo inside the car. Alright, so inside this bag right here, this is going to be our turbo inlet pipe that is supplied with this turbo. So let's go ahead and pull this out of here real fast. We've got ourselves a little O-ring inside of there, as well as our mounting screws. So we're going to go ahead and get this thrown on the turbo. So as you can see, we now have this turbo inlet installed right there. That is just a direct bolt onto the turbo. It is not the way you know, your standard turbo inlet pipe is. But here we have the TPC20 BB in there, ball bearing. So it's we're just finally tightening some things up here and there. We got to throw this hard line back over there, attach our downpipe, adapt our wastegate, and then I think we'll be good to go. All right, so we just went on ahead and put some oil in the top of this turbo, went on ahead, spun it a good bit just to let it get primed with oil, make sure that everything's nice and well lubricated in there before we give it any startups. And now we're just about to start buttoning things back up, and then we're going to attack this high pressure fuel pump, replace that with an upgraded HPA high pressure fuel pump, and then we will be replacing our sensors that we got from EQT, and I think that that will be it. So the car has been idling now for about 5-10 minutes so far, and we absolutely have 0 leaks, nothing whatsoever. So we went on ahead and threw our engine cover back on here. We got our intake obviously installed. Of course, we've got the new turbo installed, along with the high pressure fuel pump from HPA, EQT 5-bar TMAP sensor, I believe, and a Bosch 4-bar put sensor. So we've got those installed, and we are just waiting on our base map, like I said, and then we will be flashing this thing over and getting a few test pulls in, do some dynos, or not some dynos, but some data logs, and then we will continue to move on from there. It is again the next morning, and now we do have our base map ready to load onto the car. We are going to be doing that here shortly, but first we need to throw back on our bumper as well as our wheels and get this car down off some jack stands. But let me go ahead and show you guys this while I have the bumper off the car, since I normally can't access this part. With how low we ride in the car, we do scrape a good bit, but not terribly. As you guys can see, we have some scrapes right there. This sanded down part is actually, the lip came off one day on the highway back before I had reverse mounted it with bolts in through the bumper. The lip came off the bumper doing about 80 miles an hour on the highway one day, and I just heard it scraping like crazy, but it did stay on the car. It didn't go flying off or anything like that, so I was able to save it. But you guys can see, I mean, we've got ourselves some decent scratches right there, as well as if I slide this bumper over here, you guys can see we also have a little bit of scratching going on this side. Nothing through the center of the lip so far, but on the sides we do, and that is really just going up driveways and random bumps and things like that. But we've got our heater on because it is about 32 degrees out this morning, and we are just going to get this bumper thrown back on real fast, lower down the car. We have topped off the car with coolant. I'm going to be checking the oil once we get the car down level, as well as we're going to run the car for just a little bit, make sure that battery charges up before we go on ahead and flash this over to the new tune. Alright, so the car is off the jack stands, as we can see right here, and we are just letting this thing warm up a little bit. We're about to check our oil levels. Our coolant seems to be good after everything cycling in. We're right in that mid-range. I might just add a little bit just to top it off, but either way, we're about to check our oil, and then we'll be flashing in our new tune. we're all topped off with oil and coolant. As you guys can see right there, coolant level's topped off. We've already checked our oil level. We've got our oil and coolant sitting over there. But now we're about to hop inside the car, take this cob access port, and flash over to our new tune. Alright, as you guys can see right here, we are writing our new tune to the car and just flashing over. So then we will be able to crank up and do our first little test drive and get some data logs out of the way and get this back over to SneekyTuned, let him revise this tune some more, and then we will keep on going on from there. So you guys can see right here, obviously we have our forge intake along with our carbon fiber engine cover. And whenever we did this install, not only did we install the turbo, but we also did our high pressure fuel pump as well as 5-bar and 4-bar MAP sensors. So you guys can see right here, that is an EQT 5-bar TMAP sensor. And then we have the 4-bar down on the charge pipe, which would be located realistically way down there. But we've got those things done, and then also we do have our high pressure fuel pump. Let me just pop this engine cover off real quick. We do have our HPA high pressure fuel pump sitting right there, and it has given us 0 issues so far, which is awesome. I know that some of these things can sometimes be faulty out of the off the production line. Let's talk about this install a little bit. It was not the easiest install by any means. Obviously, I'm sure none of you guys probably expect installing a turbo to be the easiest install, but it really was not that hard, to be quite honest with you. It's a rather straightforward thing. There's a lot of instructions out there that walk you through exactly what to do step by step. And overall, if you got the confidence or stupidity, whichever one you want to call, to attack this and go on ahead and start disassembling your car, go on ahead and try it. I mean, don't get me wrong, you're gonna need a whole lot of tools, but I did it on my back in the garage floor. I mean, we were laying down on the garage floor, just had the front of the car up on jack stands with some wheel chucks in the back, and we just got to work on it. We did it all by ourselves, and it really was not too bad. We made sure that we set ourselves aside plenty of time to do this. We gave ourselves 2 days to get this project done, so we started it on Saturday, and our goal was to get the turbo out, which we were successful. We got the turbo out on Saturday, as well as got all of our new seals and O-rings, everything like that transferred onto the, or just replaced, or whatever I should say. And then on Sunday, we went and attacked putting the new turbo in, and it was much easier than getting the turbo out, I will go on and say. Just some of those fittings are really tight, and getting those oil feed lines and return lines, all that stuff off the turbo and off the block, it's not always the easiest thing. So there is a lot of tight spaces that I had to work in, and I did have to go to the store a couple different times to pick up other size tools and specialty size tools, mainly because I just didn't have them. Either I didn't have the right extension or whatever it was. So we ended up picking up a good bit more tools while we got this done, but we ended up doing it, and it was really no problem. I didn't feel stressed out through it at all. There was no point where I was like, oh, I really need to get some help. It was rather straightforward. You just gotta, you know, not let yourself be beaten by anything. There was an oil return line that goes down to the bottom of the block, and I worked on that thing for probably, I don't know, an hour and a half, just getting that one line out. And really, that was what majority of the taking the turbo out was just trying to work on those lines. It was so tight in there, and just not enough room, really. I mean, the engineers don't really think about the mechanics, is what it seems like. But either way, we got it done, and we are on our base map now, and we're super happy with it. I am going to wait to give you guys any pulls until we get a revision done, just that way we can give you guys a better representation of what this thing is like, but we will get you guys some sound clips. Now I'll go ahead and tell you, because this TPC-20 uses some Garrett internals, this thing, it makes some nice spoolie noises. I will go on ahead and say that. It does spool up quite nicely, and it just sounds really good. So let me go ahead and set down this camera and get you guys some sound clips. Alright, so that's basically gonna be it for today's video. I really do appreciate you guys tuning in, as always. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to make you guys wait till next week's episode to be able to see how this car really does pull. And I will go in and warn you guys, it is astounding. It's mind-blowing, even on a base map, how much harder this car pulls now than it did with the stock turbo. So
Make sure that you guys subscribe and hit your notification bell so that way you don't miss it whenever I upload that video. And I hope that some of you guys might have found this video even a little bit helpful, give you guys some motivation to just tackle that turbo install on your own. It's a good way to save yourselves a good chunk of money. Who knows how much it costs to install a turbo? I'm not really sure. I didn't even call around. I just went ahead, decided this is the way I'm gonna do it. So I hope that some of you guys found this helpful. Either way, thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.